We're all amateurs, aren't we? I didn't go to culinary school. I went to the seafood school. When you see food, you eat it, no matter what it was. Now, good morning, folks. Afternoon or evening, wherever you are. Today, we're going to put together a seafood chowder. This seafood chowder is made especially for the promotion of the local sea products, sponsored by the Maine Center for the Coastal Fisheries for our seafood promotional week coming up. This film is dedicated for that purpose. Thank you. One of the reasons that we're doing this today is we're cooking with local ingredients that the local fishermen catch, which is lobster, crab meat, scallops. This is what we're introducing to let you know how to put it together if you want to make a nice big chowder for your family or whatever. And we're going to start here by sauteing these onions to soften them up, and the celery to soften that up. We're cutting this all up in bite-sized pieces so that they all cook pretty much uniformly. Okay? Celery tends to add a little salt flavor to the chowder. We want to get it so that it's tender, which is the main reason for sauteing it. We want to soften it up. Don't mind me, I just don't want to put a finger in the soup. I'm trying to concentrate on what I'm doing. I don't know how fingers would go with seafood chowder, but probably not too good. All right, we're gonna get these in there. We want to saute the onions to soften them up for one thing, and the other thing is we don't want the onions to overpower our chowder. And then we're using potatoes, which is can be a local staple. We find the red potatoes, especially our very hardy potato, they make excellent chowders. The Idahos probably are better baked, but we're into the chowder business here today. Okay, now, if you cut up potatoes, which you may or may not know, if you cut your things up ahead of time, always put your potatoes in cold water so that they don't turn brown. Now I gotta get some water in them. We're covering these with water just over the tops. Yeah, they're coming good. This is the seafood side of the bench that we're working on here. These are the scallops, the sea scallops. These are small ones. They cook quick. There's a muscle on the side that I take off. They're quite chewy, and most people take them off. And again, we cut these up in bite-sized pieces. The purpose of doing all of this is to get this stuff to cook evenly and be done at the same time. Okay, now we got some lobster here in the bag. This lobster is pre-cooked for us. You can buy it that way. And again, you just cut this up in bite-sized pieces. If you want to know how to cook it, if you don't want to buy it cooked, we've made a video on cooking the lobsters, and you can extract the meat from them and then just cut it up to match the rest of your ingredients. Now the crab meat, which we have here, when it's picked, it's pretty much separated. It's pretty hard to pick crab meat in whole big pieces. So this is pretty much all ready to go. There we go. The lobster, we're not going to cook 3 minutes. It's already cooked. The scallops, we are. You cover each one of the ingredients, and then we're going to save the liquid because that's all going back in the big kettle. We've got the flavor on it. We're going to use that flavor. Seafood cooks very quickly, especially when you cut them up in small pieces. A lot of people like to buy the real huge scallops and slice them, but then they tend to, I think, be tougher. The little small ones are very tender. The onions are getting really close, okay? I might not had the pan as hot as I should have, but I'm being careful. I don't want to burn this lady's pan. I don't want to get hit in the head with it on the way out of here. Now, you see how firm they are? We don't want them to get rubbery. We just want them to firm up. They're done. So we're gonna take this broth and save that. As soon as that celery and the onion get done, we're gonna saute just a little bit of lobster, and we want that for color, okay? It'll give a nice red color to the top. I'm gonna take this liquid out of here and add this and add the other liquids, and then we'll put this in on the top, okay? Easy there, big fella. Okay. Good. Dandy. All right, pot's empty. We're gonna put this water that we steamed the scallops in. Now we're gonna put the onions and celery in. Okay, now I'm gonna saute a little lobster, and I'm doing that for the color of the product of the chowder here. Okay, we don't need much, just a little bit. I gotta check out potatoes, see how they're coming. The fork will go right through them. Almost there. We're gonna add the scallops into our kettle. Okay, pot, whatever you want to call it. Now, what we need to do here is to let this pot cool down before we add the half and half. We don't want it to turn. It will curdle it if you put it in too soon. So you want to get this thing cooled down. I've been married 60 years, and my wife is an excellent cook. She's a cook from the old school. I've never brought home anything that she wouldn't cook. And she cooks by smell. She could be in the other end of the house and she'll tell me, she said, go take that kettle off the stove, it's all done. Well, how do you know? Well, I can smell it. Okay, I'm gone. So I go take it off. So anyway, no, she's an excellent cook. Now, if you look at this, you can see how the liquid in there is turning red. Okay? So I don't want to overdo it. Good thing we started them early, eh?
Yeah.
They're done. Okay. All right, we got to drain them. And we got to. That goes right in the pot. Okay. That's done. Okay, we're putting in the butter. That'll make her good and rich. And then we're going to put in the sauteed lobster. If you can get your camera over there, you'll see the red color. We can add the lobster. And the crab meat. There's a lot of ingredients in here, but we don't want to make a soup or a chowder that the lobster walks through with stilts on. You're going to eat a lobster chowder, you want some lobster in it to eat, and some other ingredients. So I find it, don't be stingy with your ingredients. I'm covering the ingredients just with the liquid, okay? And what we got to do now is just let it cool down before we add the half and half. The thing that you want to remember, once it's cooled down and you put your half and half in, do not, I repeat, do not bring it to a boil. Warm it slowly. If you scotch the half and half, or the milk, or whatever you use, condensed milk, that taste will go through all of your ingredients, and you have basically just destroyed your chowder, especially if you have spent a lot of money to buy the ingredients. So the best thing to do is when you add the half and half is get a big spoon and just kind of stir it slowly, and then keep checking it to make sure that it's come up to temperature that you can eat it, and take your ladle and ladle it up and you're all set. So we're going to give it 10 minutes or so to cool off. Let the ingredients cool down. Okay, now that it's cooled down, we're going to add a half and half to taste. We have 3 quarts. You might not need all 3, but we're going to start with 1. Remember, no heat under the pot. The pot is still warm to the touch. And what we got to do now is just stir this up. And then we're going to add a bottle of clam juice for a little bit of saltiness. Okay. I ain't so sure, Tate, but I think maybe 1 quart of that half and half may be enough. Depends how much liquid you want. Okay, folks, we've completed our seafood chowder for the main center for the coastal fisheries and for our promotional week coming up from August 1st to August 7th. And we're going to see how we did. Recommend it to anybody. Very good. Bon appetit.